Her name was Serafina, unique like her, a name that lingered in the air, much like the scent of her perfume. I saw her first in the bookstore, a haven of words and hidden desires. It was a place where stories came alive and secrets whispered from the pages. She was browsing the poetry section, her fingers trailing the spines like a lover's caress. Each touch seemed to breathe life into the books, as if she was unlocking their deepest secrets. Something about the way she moved, the way she smelled of old books and vanilla, it ignited a spark. It was a scent that evoked memories of forgotten times, of cozy nights spent reading by candlelight. No, more than a spark, a wildfire. A blaze that consumed my thoughts and set my soul alight. I needed to know her, to possess her thoughts, her secrets. She was an enigma, a puzzle that I was desperate to solve. This wasn't simple attraction, this was a pull, a gravitational force I couldn't resist. It was as if the universe itself was drawing us together, an invisible thread binding our fates. It felt different this time, more intense, more consuming. It was a fire that burned brighter, a passion that couldn't be extinguished. I knew then that our paths colliding was no accident. It was fate, a destiny written in the stars, a story that was meant to unfold. My heart pounded as I memorized her every detail, the curve of her neck, the way her hair fell over her shoulder, the ink stain on her finger. Each feature was etched into my mind, a portrait of perfection. Each imperfection only amplified her allure. The tiny flaws made her real, tangible, and even more captivating. She was a masterpiece waiting to be understood, and I, the unworthy artist, yearned to paint her story, to capture her essence on canvas, to immortalize her beauty in my art. But how could I, a mere mortal, ever hope to do justice to such a divine creation? The task seemed insurmountable, yet the desire to try was overwhelming. I knew that capturing her would be a journey, a quest that would test my limits and push me to new heights. But for Serafina, I was willing to embark on this odyssey, to lose myself in the pursuit of her essence. Obsession is a dangerous drug. It seeps into your veins, a slow, intoxicating poison. I knew I should stay away, that this path led only to darkness, yet I couldn't help myself. Serafina was different. She was the answer, the missing piece I'd been searching for. Every waking moment was consumed by thoughts of her. I imagined us together, her laughter echoing in my ears, her head resting on my chest. These fantasies were my escape, my solace, my torment. I knew they were just that, fantasies. But the line between reality and delusion was beginning to blur. Was it love, or was it something darker, something more sinister? The question gnawed at me, a constant reminder of my own internal struggle. I craved her light, her warmth, but I knew that my touch could just as easily destroy her. We started spending time together, innocent at first. Coffee dates, walks in the park, conversations that stretched late into the night. I played the part, the charming and attentive suitor, careful not to reveal the monster lurking beneath the surface. But the more I learned about Serafina, the more I realized how different our desires truly were. She craved freedom, independence, a life untethered. I, on the other hand, craved control, possession, the security of knowing she was mine and mine alone. Consent became a slippery slope, a smile misinterpreted, a touch that lingered too long. I convinced myself that these were signs of her affection, that she wanted me as much as I wanted her. But deep down, a seed of doubt began to grow. Was I twisting her words, her actions to fit the narrative I so desperately wanted to believe? The human mind is a master of self-deception. It can twist reality, bend truths, and create a narrative that suits its desires. I told myself I was protecting Serafina, shielding her from the harsh realities of the world. I convinced myself that my actions were noble, that I was her guardian angel, that my love, my obsession, was a testament to her worth. I believed that my intense feelings were proof of my devotion, a sign that I was the only one who truly understood her. But these were just lies, elaborate constructs designed to justify my increasingly unjustifiable actions. I was building a house of cards, each lie a fragile piece holding up my delusion. I started small, manipulating situations to isolate her, to make her dependent on me. It began with subtle suggestions, gentle nudges that seemed harmless. A well-placed white lie here, a small deception there. I told myself it was all for her own good, that I was protecting her from a world that didn't understand her. A fabricated emergency there. It was all for her own good, I reasoned. Each lie, each manipulation, was a step deeper into the web I was weaving. Each transgression chipped away at my conscience, but I ignored the growing guilt. I told myself that the end justified the means, that my actions were necessary. But the guilt was a small price to pay for the illusion of her love. I was willing to sacrifice my own peace of mind for the fantasy I had created. Looking back, I can see the madness in my methods, the lengths I went to, the lies I told, all in the name of love. But at the time it felt like the only logical course of action. I was blinded by my obsession, unable to see the damage I was causing. I was lost in the labyrinth of my own making, a maze of lies and deceit that I couldn't find my way out of. And Serafina was the prize at the center, the key to my happiness, my salvation. I believed that if I could just keep her close, everything would be all right. But in the end, I was only fooling myself. Section 5. Love's shadow, the high cost of unrequited affection. Love can be a double-edged sword, capable of both immense joy and profound destruction. My love for Serafina, if that's what it truly was, had morphed into something monstrous, something that threatened to consume us both. I saw the fear in her eyes, the way she flinched at my touch, and it shattered me. The realization that my actions, however well-intentioned, had pushed her away, filled me with a despair I had never known. The line between love and obsession had vanished completely. I had become the very thing I swore to protect her from, a monster lurking in the shadows, a constant reminder of her own vulnerability. Section 6. A cycle of control, the addictive nature of manipulation. The more I tried to control Serafina, the more she slipped through my fingers. It was a vicious cycle, fueled by my own insecurities and the fear of losing her. Each attempt at manipulation only served to push her further away, driving me deeper into the abyss of my obsession. The thrill of the chase, the feeling of power that came with orchestrating her life, it was intoxicating. But like any addiction, the high was always fleeting, leaving me craving more, needing to tighten my grip even further. I justified my actions as acts of love, but deep down, I knew the truth. This wasn't about her happiness, it was about mine. I was a puppet master, pulling the strings of her life, desperate to make her dance to the tune of my own twisted desires. Section 7. Guilt's lingering grip. Can we escape our darkest impulses? Guilt is a heavy burden, one that I carried with me like a physical weight. The knowledge of my actions, of the pain I had inflicted upon Serafina, haunted my every waking moment. Sleep offered no escape, only a relentless barrage of nightmares and self-recrimination. I tried to convince myself that I was doing it for her, that my love justified the means. But the more I tried to rationalize my behavior, the more I realized the futility of my self-deception. I was a monster, plain and simple. The question was, could I change? Could I break free from the cycle of obsession and control that had come to define my existence? Or was I destined to repeat the same mistakes, hurting everyone I claimed to love? Section 8. The price of obsession, ruin and the hope for redemption. The consequences of my actions were swift and devastating. Serafina, once so full of life, was now a shadow of her former self, her spirit crushed by my suffocating presence. The realization that I was the cause of her pain was almost unbearable. I had lost her, and in the process, I had lost myself. The man I had become, the monster I had created, filled me with a profound sense of shame and self-loathing. Was there any hope for redemption? Could I ever atone for the pain I had caused? These were the questions that plagued me, a constant reminder of the high cost of obsession. Section 9. Free will or fate? A final question of choice. This question has puzzled philosophers, scientists, and thinkers for centuries. Are we truly the masters of our destiny, or are we merely following a script written by the hands of fate? In the end, we are all prisoners of our own making. Our decisions, our actions, and even our inactions create the bars that confine us. We make choices, both big and small, that shape the course of our lives and the lives of those around us. Each decision, no matter how insignificant it may seem at the time, has a ripple effect that can alter the trajectory of our existence. I can try to blame fate, to convince myself that I was a victim of circumstance. It's easy to point fingers at the universe and say that it was all beyond my control. But the truth is, I made my choices, and now I must face the consequences. Every action I took, every path I chose, led me to this very moment. As I sit here, alone with my thoughts, I am left to ponder the age-old question. Do we have free will, or are we merely pawns in a game larger than ourselves? Is there a grand design that we are all unknowingly following, or do we have the power to carve out our own destinies? Perhaps the answer lies somewhere in between. Maybe it's a delicate dance between fate and free will, where both play a role in shaping our lives. Perhaps it is in the moments of clarity, those fleeting glimpses of self-awareness, that we have the power to choose a different path. In those moments, we can break free from the chains of our past decisions and forge a new direction. But for now, I am left to grapple with the wreckage of my own creation, a stark reminder of the destructive power of unchecked desire. The choices I made, driven by my desires and impulses, have led to this point. And as I sift through the debris, I am reminded that while fate may play a role, it is ultimately our choices that define us.